So alright then guys, welcome to another lesson of this course. And in this lesson, we're gonna be installing an application called Local. And we'll be using it to install WordPress on top of it. This will be our web server, our local server, alright? But before we even start this lesson and start installing Local, I want to talk about why do we need a local server? We will always need a local server to test our site and to develop our applications. You'll never use a local site, a site that is actually available for the public to do your tests because it's dangerous. Suppose you have a new feature or you need to install a new plugin or a new functionality in your site and to use your production site to do those tests. And suppose something goes wrong and the site breaks. That's why you need an isolated place, an isolated environment to do those tests, right? One more reason is that WordPress itself uses PHP, and PHP is a server-side programming language, which means it runs in a web server. It's different from HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. They are considered client-side programming languages. You guys will remember that in the previous video lesson, we double-click an HTML file and we could see, for example, the site running and those JavaScript effects. And the site was already styled with all the colors, all the images, etc. It's because HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are client-side programming languages, which means they run in the browser. But PHP is different. You need a web server in order for it to work, right? One more thing is that WordPress uses a database. So you need also MySQL or MariaDB to host the data belonging to the WordPress installation, the posts, the pages, the images, all of the data belonging to the plugins, etc. And the web server, a local server, will provide you all that, all right? You can see that by visiting the WordPress official documentation, which is in this page over here. You can see that, for example, to run WordPress, it's recommended your host supports, for example, PHP version 7.4 or greater, MySQL versions 5.7 or greater, or MariaDB version 10.4 or greater. And in some cases, you also need HTTPS support. That's why we will need to install a local server. And why did we choose this app here, Local? The first thing and the most important reason for me is that it's becoming very popular. In a lot of tutorials over the years, I see that people are using this application, and even the WordPress developers, the WordPress team developers, they are using it to explain, for example, some of the modern features that WordPress brings. They use Local to present those features. So if those guys are using it, so why don't we use it too, right? One of the advantages of Local is that it is multi-platform, which means that you can install it on your Windows machine or on Mac or on Linux. It doesn't matter, okay? There are a lot of features that will help you in your tests. For example, you can switch from one PHP version to another. For example, if your server, your production server uses PHP version 8.2, you can do the same in your local app and have an environment which is similar to the one you have in your production site, alright? You can also switch from one web server to another, from Nginx, from Apache, and vice versa, for example. You can also, if you want, organize your projects in a very easy way. You'll see later, guys, how I do with my own sites. You can also use some of the extensions it brings. For example, you can use Xdebug or Instant Reload or other extensions that will help you developing in WordPress. You can also export and import your projects, your websites. I use that, for example, to ask my students whenever they have issues or problems in their WordPress installation. I ask them, please send me an export of your project, and then I can restore it in my own local app and then see what is going on, see what's wrong. It comes also with Adminer, which is a good database manager. You can, for example, use it to run SQL commands. You can use it to import or export your database and also modify your tables, whatever. It's a very good and simple application, but it works. So let's go ahead and let's install our local application. So the first thing is clicking on this download button. You can then choose your platform, your operating system. For example, I use Mac Intel here. I will fill in with my first name, my last name. I will choose my organization type here. I am a freelancer. My email. Click on Get It Now. Save it. I will not wait until this process finishes because I have the application already installed here on my computer, and so the process is different depending on your operating system. So I will not be showing you guys how to do it on Mac, for example. You can go ahead and then install it on your own operating system, okay? So once you have it installed, you will then open it up. So this is my instance of local. If it's the first time, you won't see anything here. It will be empty. And we have two options to install WordPress. The first one is this big plus button here. Or you can go to the file menu and then choose add new site. I just go ahead and click here. Choose create a new site. Continue. Choose a name for this site. You can use whatever name you want, okay? It doesn't need to be the same as mine here. Then continue. I use the preferred configurations, so I'm using PHP 8.1.23. The web server will be Nginx, and MySQL version 8.0.16, all right? You can see different information depending on when you're watching this video. Continue. Choose a name for your WordPress username. A password, and then click on Add Site. This process can take, for example, 3 or 4 minutes depending on your computer. If it asks you, just fill in with your password and then just wait for the process to finish. Alright, it's finished. This is my site already running. You can tell this by this green circle here. If you want, you can click this green circle and stop this website. Or if it is gray like this, I can then click on this arrow here and then start it. If you want, you can also group those sites. So for example, these are the groups I used to organize my websites, my projects. If you want to create a new group, you can then just click on this menu here and then choose create new group. And then just drag and drop the sites, the projects you want to that group. So let me walk you through this application. This first icon here, you can use it to go to the site folder. If we click here, you can then open up the folder in which your installation files are located. Mine is under my user local sites, HTML WPEN. And then I have this app folder, in which I have this one called public, and then under public I have all of my WordPress installation files. You can use this button here to open the admin, the dashboard, and this one to open the front end. If you want, you can then switch from this Nginx web server to Apache if you want, or if you wish to, you can switch from this PHP version to newer ones or to older ones. It depends on your project and your tests. You can click this one-click admin feature here, and it will allow you to open the admin without filling in with your credentials, with your password. Here on the database, you can access the Adminer database manager. Over here, we have some options too. Here, for example, I can choose some add-ons to install on my local app. For example, here I can install Image Optimizer, Table Plus, which is another database manager. You can use Xdebug to debug your code, or instant reload, you name it. Those are very useful extensions. Going back here, so let's open up our installation, click in here. So this is our dashboard of WordPress. You can go ahead and open this appearance menu, themes, and what you see here is a list of native WordPress themes. We have here, for example, 2022, 2023, 2024. Generally, WordPress installs the last 3 native themes that were created, and those names always refer to the year in which they were created. Our task here in this course is to add a new item to this list, a new theme, and we'll be getting that HTML template and transform it, turn it into a WordPress theme like these ones here. To open the front end, the actual website, you can go ahead and then just click here under this visit site option. You see the site in action here, up and running. Or if you want to, you can go to your local and then just click this button here. It's the same, all right? So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson. One more thing before we finish it is I will leave you with the link with alternatives to the local app in case you don't want to install it, or you have difficulties installing it or using it. The list will be in the available resources for this lecture here. In case you need it, just go ahead and review that list, alright? So thank you very much for your attention, and I see you guys in the next one. Bye!